Okay, this video has examples from the properties of addition and subtraction topic on study Allen. So a factory manufactures pipes that should have an ideal length represented by 0 on the number line. The quality manager at the factory measures 2 random pipes, pipe X and pipe Y, from each batch daily. In the first batch today, pipe X had a length that was 0.2 centimeters less than the ideal length. And the difference between the length of pipe X and pipe Y was 0.6 centimeters. Plot all the points on the number line that could represent the length of pipe Y compared to the ideal length. So let's take this one step at a time. 0 is the ideal length. If we lined up a pipe and it hit right at 0, that's exactly what we want. So just remember, 0 is what we want. We want the ideal length of 0. Well, pipe X, it said, had a length that was 2 centimeters less than ideal. So if 0 is ideal, what's 0.2 centimeters less? Well, it's going to go less, so we're going left. Okay, we're going lower, and there's my negative 0.2. So right now, that's where pipe X is. It's at 0.2. Now, I'm going to put a point there, but I'm not going to keep it there because that's not what it's actually asking for. It's not asking for the length of pipe X. It's not asking you to plot pipe X. It wants to know where pipe Y could be. Now, the difference between the lengths of pipe X and pipe Y was 0.6. So where is 0.6 away? Well, does it say if it was 0.6 lower or 0.6 higher? No, so it could be either one. Let's go 0.6 lower. Where would that be? Every space on this number line is 0.2. So if we count by 0.2 and see how far we get to 0.6, and that's where we'll be. So here we go. 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. That means 0.2, 0.4, 0.6. So that's one spot that is 0.6 below 0.2. 3 spaces, because each space is worth 0.2, and 3 times 0.2 is 0.6. What about going above? What if pipe Y was 0.6 longer than pipe X? We go 0.2, 0.2, 0.2 the other way. So those 2 points on the outside, those are the points that it could be. I don't want this point there, though. It didn't ask me to plot pipe X. It only asked me to plot pipe Y. So I'm going to go ahead and select that dot and delete it. So those are my 2 points. Next up, I've got a number line there. I've got 2 points on it. What is the length of the red line segment on the number line? Okay, well, let's check it out. Every 2 spaces is 1 hole. We can see from 0 to 1 is 2 spaces. So that means every 1 space is a half. So let's count how many total spaces it is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a little extra, 7.5 spaces. How much is those 7 spaces? Remember, every 2 spaces is 1 hole. So if I was counting 2 spaces at a time, I could count holes. So let's go back and count 2 spaces at a time. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 3, and then we have extra. 1 space is worth a half, so 3.5. And halfway to another space is another 0.25, which is 3.75. Oh, can a length be negative? It says negative 3.75. It asks us for a length. No, length can't be negative, so that's why I said 3.75. An ion is an atom or molecule with an electric charge. The table below lists some ions and their electric charges. So common names and their electric charges. Select all the groups of ions that, when combined, create an ionic compound with an electric charge of 0. Well, if they have a charge of 0, that means that they're going to cancel each other out with the positive and negative version. So, for example, aluminum ion, the very first one is +3. To cancel out its charge, we need to find something with a -3. So where's -3? Oh, there we go. Nitride. So aluminum ion and a nitride ion, those would cancel each other out. Is that one of our options? Yeah, aluminum and nitride. What else? Let's go through these one at a time and see. Bromide and hydrogen. Where's bromide? Bromide is -1. Where's hydrogen? Hydrogen is +1. Do they cancel each other out? Yes, because they're opposites, +1 and -1. Sulfide and calcium. Sulfide is -2. Calcium It's positive 2. And again, if we add negative 2 and positive 2, they cancel each other out, make 0. Oxide and nitride. If oxide is negative 2, nitride we saw earlier. We already did nitride. Nitride is negative 3. When you add those together, do you get 0? No, you get negative 5. So those definitely do not end up with 0, so I'm not checking that one. Last, zinc and calcium. Zinc is positive 2. Calcium is also positive 2. When we put those together, do we get 0? No, we get positive 4. They're both positive, so you add them together, you get 4. So those 3 pairs make 0. Which of the following number lines shows the correct sum of the number above and negative 1.2? Let's read this a little bit more slowly. Which of the following number lines, so which A, B, C, or D, shows the correct sum? Sum is the answer to an addition problem. So I want to know the answer. One of these is an answer to an addition problem. What are we adding? The sum of the number above. The number above says negative 1.4. That's the spot. And negative 1.2. So it's asking what is negative 1.4 plus, because we're at sum, negative 1.2. If we're adding together two negatives, we're just going to be more negative. Negative 1.4 and negative 1.2, we add those together, we're just going to get negative 2.6. 0.4 and 0.2 is 0.6, 1 and 1 is 2. So the answer is negative 2.6. Which one of these says negative 2.6? Right here. A. Number 6, Tyrone's bank account had a balance of negative $96.74 last week. His paycheck of $350.44 was deposited this week. If there have been no other transaction, which of the following is true? He's got different balances. So let's find his balance. He started with negative. That means his account was overdrawn. He owed money. But he put his paycheck in there, so he made up for it. So we're just going to add these two amounts together. $350.44 plus negative $96.74 is like a subtraction problem. You're just going to subtract 96 from 350. So let's just go ahead and look at here and see which one of those makes sense. If you have 350 and you subtract 96, it's going to be in the 200s somewhere, right? So it's going to be B or C. Is our answer positive or negative? Well, it's going to be positive because the $350, the positive number, is much more than the negative number. Whichever one of these is farther away from 0, your answer is going to be that. So if the negative number you're adding to the positive number is farther away from 0 than the positive number is, then your answer is negative. But because the positive number is farther away from 0 than the negative number is, your answer is positive. So $253.70. Okay, let's do one more. By lunchtime, Peter had dug part of a hole to plant a tree. At the end of the day, Peter had finished digging the hole. The number line below shows the depth of the hole at lunchtime and at the end of the day. According to the number line, how many feet did Peter dig between lunchtime and the end of the day? So at lunchtime, the hole was right there. And at the end of the day, it was right there. Now, clearly it got deeper because he was digging. So where was it at lunchtime? It was at -1 and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So -1/4. So -1 and 1/4. If I go 1 and then 2, I would be at -3 and 1/4. But we could just count quarters because all of your answers are in quarters. So let's count. How far did he dig? How many quarters? Every one of these little sections is a quarter because there are 4 sections in one. So minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the depth of the hole at lunchtime and the depth of the hole at the end of the day, he went 9/4 of a foot down. So according to the number line, how many feet did Peter dig between lunchtime and the end of the day? He dug 9/4 of a foot down. Okay, so hopefully this helps you out. Let me know if you have any more questions.